Alright guys, before I start this video, I need to remind you that this is a conspiracy theory of what happened at Maui. Alright, and I'm going to ask you to please save this video, because a lot of people that's posted videos about Maui have had their videos removed, and I think there's a lot of things you need to see in here. Now to start off, we need to time travel a little bit, back in time to January 28th. And I think a lot of you will remember January 28th because that's the day the spy balloon was going over the United States. What a lot of people don't realize though, is that on the same day, the University of Hawaii released this photo of green lasers going from space onto Hawaii. Believe it or not, this was all over the news. You just don't remember it because of the whole spy balloon going on. Now, China did later comment about the lasers, stating that they were measuring for pollutants and geography and all that. But this former Marine actually had a pretty good thing to say about it, is that why would the Chinese be measuring for pollutants when they're the biggest polluters on Earth? So I did a little research. And online, you can actually see where satellites were in the past. So I put in the exact time those lasers were there on January 28th. And the satellite was right over Hawaii. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you've seen this video on TikTok where it shows all the different colors and the colors that the lasers actually burn, okay? Keep this in your mind, that the blue did not get burned. And also keep this in your mind. Right on a Chinese website, blue tin roofs spring up in China, all over. Wonder why. Now, I know you've already seen these photos too. This is one of the photos of the blue cloth that did not get burned, even though the fire went right through there. And to be honest, the photos go on and on. I mean, guys, even cars, blue cars, did not get burned. There's another over there. Now this entire building went down and everything near it. Blue umbrella stood. Now this even goes deeper, okay? You see all this aluminum that was melted from these cars? Do you guys realize how hot it's got to be to melt aluminum? 1,221 degrees. But something is a little strange here, okay? Okay, so I want you to look at all the roads, all right? You notice how they're just fine? They're not all melted. They're not all bad. It's kind of strange because the melting point of asphalt is 343 degrees Fahrenheit. So naturally, I dug a little bit deeper. And online, you can actually get a list of the times of when the fire started, where they're at, and all that in Maui. And the crazy part is, every single big event that happened during that time, the satellite happened to be pretty close. So here's my recommendation. Take this video however you want to. Do your own research. Look at where the satellites were during these major events. I looked at probably 15 different spots in time where the big events were happening during the fire, and every time the satellite was nearby. Don't believe everything the government has told you, because they've lied to you so many times in the past, including a lot recently, including the whole pipeline that blew up that happened to be owned by Russia, and then the United States blamed it on Russia, saying the Russians blew it up. Why would they blow up their own pipeline? Well, we found out about a year later that Biden ordered that pipeline to be blown up. And then the whole aliens thing and everything else. Take it as you will. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. Save this video.
So yeah, feel free to re-upload these if you consider it to be important information. Back in John Podesta's WikiLeaks 6 years ago, someone was emailing him in the government, and reminiscing about the hot dog stand in Hawaii, about how good that hot dog was. Hawaii, not known for its hot dogs, and these people who travel all over the world for the State Department have access to some of the best restaurants and food on planet Earth. Would they really be blown away by a hot dog stand? Or is it like so much of his emails code? And then the emails where a billionaire is chastising John Podesta, is strongly chastising him because he changed the delivery method. He changed the delivery method for a yummy box of cheeses. And this has the billionaire outraged, the late Herb Sandler. Outraged because the delivery method for a yummy box of cheeses that he's planning on demolishing and going dominating as soon as his grandchildren get back. It's an intergenerational thing for these satanic families, or whatever they consider themselves to be. This all came out in the emails, and now you're going to take down my emails about the Maui fire because I mentioned that Oprah was on the island. She was on the island. She is on the island. Now you're going to take down my videos because John Podesta, the man of that hot dog stand in Hawaii, exchanged good hot dogs in Hawaii. He's Biden's senior advisor, and he flew to Maui with Biden on Air Force One. He did. He's one of his senior advisors. He flies with him frequently. Take down this video when every single word is truth? No, you should re-upload it everywhere.
Lasers? Really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam. Firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
It is almost impossible to believe that this guy, that this old man, this Walmart greeter, this fake installed president, why the fuck is his wife with him wherever he goes? We didn't hire this person. I didn't hire you, Joe. You're a traitor. I know what you are. I know what Kamala is. I know what the Democratic Party is. And I know that we have a constitutional crisis of epic proportion. But hearing you talk about your house that, had a little fire, you almost lost your cat and your Corvette. There are children that were incinerated to ash. You fucking old man. You vile human being. The only way you feel you're able to communicate and you have some kind of, you're so out of touch with the common man, you don't even understand how to speak to them. The only way you think you can establish commonality with them is to lie. That the same thing happened to you, no matter what the tragedy is. Your son wasn't killed in action, by the way. Your house didn't burn down. Your children weren't burned to death. How dare you get up there and speak this way? Your job is to go there and assuage them in a way that you talk to them about their loss. That you can't imagine what it's like. That you can't imagine what it's like never to find the bodies of the poor children that were sent home from schools that died alone. Alone. In fear. Without their parent or a guardian. That the most abhorrent thing happened. You're a disgusting, despicable bastard. You're too old. You need to step down from office. Maybe the cackling hyena behind you, maybe she'll rise to the occasion. She can't even form a coherent sentence. This is an outrage. An outrage. We should just rebuild the goddamn thing the way it was. When you hear the psychopath, the first thing out of the governor's mouth was, we're going to reclaim the land for this or for that. Who the fuck are the people we hire in government? And if there's any truth to the matter that this idiot held back the water, he should be sent down to Guantanamo Bay. Never to be seen again. It's just outrageous how we behave in this country. There's no adults. An event, no matter how tragic, there should be men that are able to rise to the occasion. In 5 seconds, you should know what to do. You should understand the right thing. You almost lost your cat. Go fuck yourself.
It's just a coincidence that the police chief was the same man in charge of the Las Vegas shooting. And it's just a huge coincidence that property owned by millionaires and billionaires like Jeff Bezos, Oprah, and the founder of PayPal remained untouched, while the land of the natives burned only a few feet away, literally. And it's just a huge coincidence that the island had the largest system of outdoor sirens in the world, yet they decided not to sound them or alert anybody in any way. And it's just a huge coincidence that they closed all of the schools, sent all of the children home, and turned off the water as soon as the fires started so that people couldn't put them out. And it's just a coincidence that under orders, policemen blockaded the exits, didn't allow anyone to evacuate, and forced them to jump in the water to save their own lives. And it's just a coincidence that the island is set to be the very first to operate on 100% renewable energy, and to do so, they must significantly decrease their CO2 emissions. And it's just a huge coincidence that 1 month prior to the fires, the mayor issued a press release highlighting his commitment to the United Nations 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development. And it's just a coincidence that Hawaii is the only state to have submitted a voluntary local review, which is a framework and goal set to achieve sustainable development. And it's just a huge coincidence that BlackRock and the United States government are 2 out of the 3 largest landowners on the island who have been trying to buy up the land from the natives for the past few decades, who refuse to sell, and both of them are part of the renewable energy agenda. And it's just a huge coincidence that the survivors' homes that are still standing are now being evicted. And it's just a coincidence that the fact checkers saying that all of this is a coincidence are owned by BlackRock. At this point, if you believe that all of these are coincidences, you are the crazy one, not me. Google is not going to come out and tell you what's going on, and even if they did, a lot of you wouldn't even believe it unless it was from a government or fact-checking website. But guess what? They're not going to tattle on themselves, so you need to think for yourself. We should be absolutely enraged about these fires. We really need to stand up and do something, because things like this are just going to keep happening, because we allow them.
Mira la pinche láser, güey. La sombrilla azul, mira. La sombrilla azul.